of your title, your credentials, and all of those acronyms attached to your name. People see, people hear 7 figures, 19.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
And workaholism is an addiction. Always starts with a poignant quote. Don't put pressure on yourself to figure it out. Explore, experiment. Notice what lights you up.
Welcome to Pivot Mode, the podcast where we're leading generations that will define the future. I will share with you today 20 leadership mistakes that are costing us. And it's costing us your best talent. I'm your host, Valerie Destin. And today I want to speak directly to leaders, executives, managers, entrepreneurs, and anyone responsible for leading people in today's workforce. As a current corporate health and wellness lead, I spend significant amount of time studying human behavior, workplace culture, leadership effectiveness, and the biological and psychological factors that influence performance. And there is one challenge that continues to show up in organizations around the world. Leaders are struggling to understand Gen Z, not because Gen Z is difficult, but because many organizations are still using leadership strategies designed for a workforce that no longer exists. The reality is this: Gen Z employees aren't asking for less accountability. They're asking for better leadership. They're looking for clarity, purpose, growth, psychological safety, meaningful feedback, and leaders who understand that human performance is about more than productivity and matrix. Today's episode is called Leading the Generation That Will Define the Future. We'll explore 20 major pain points leaders face when managing Gen Z employees, and more importantly, the practical solutions that create engagement, retention, loyalty, and high performance. Let's dive in. Why are they leaving so quickly? Is the question that leaders ask. And leaders are becoming frustrated with Gen Z employees that leave within 6 months to 2 years of being employed. What is really happening? Previous generations often stayed because of job security. Gen Z stays because of growth opportunities. If they cannot see the future inside your organization, they will build one elsewhere. Leadership solutions create visible growth pathways, discuss career aspirations, skill development, internal opportunities, and future leadership roles. Every Gen Z employee should know. Now, what can I become here? They want constant feedback. Leadership pain points. Main managers complain that Gen Z requires too much feedback. Reality is, Gen Z grew up receiving immediate information. Feedback is not reassurance. Feedback is navigation. Leadership solutions replace annual reviews with weekly coaching conversations. They ask, what's going well? What's challenging? What support do you need? So I urge leaders to become a coach instead of merely an evaluator. Leaders usually say they don't seem motivated. So the mistake that you're making is that you're seeing that their disengagement is considered laziness. The reality is, many employees aren't disengaged. They're disconnected. People become energized when work feels meaningful. Leadership solutions connect every role to impact. Help your employees understand who benefits from their work, why their contribution matters, how their role supports the larger mission of the organization. Because purpose fuels performance. You complain that they challenge everything. You question their tendency to be disrespectful, which I doubt. In reality, Gen Z was educated to think critically. They want understanding before compliance. So your leadership solution should explain the why. Leaders who explain earn trust. Leaders who demand obedience create resistance. You claim that their mental health seems fragile. And managers feel unprepared for the conversations around stress and mental health. The reality is, previous generations often suffered silently. Gen Z speaks openly. So your leadership solution should be to normalize conversations about well-being. Create environments where people can say, I'm struggling, I need help, without fearing career consequences. You claim that they're burned out earlier than expected. The reality is Gen Z professionals entered adulthood during uncertainty, during economic instability and digital overload. Their nervous systems have been under pressure for years. So your leadership solution should teach energy management, not just time management. Focus on helping them recover. Focus on helping the workload, setting boundaries, sustainability performance. They want flexibility. Leaders worry about the flexibility, that flexibility reduces productivity. The reality is that Gen Z values outcome over performances and over appearances. So leadership solutions should measure results, not chair them, not chair time. High-performing organizations focus on impact rather than physical presence. You claim that the generation seems anxious. Anxiety affects confidence and decision-making. So your solution to that problem should be reduce ambiguity. Provide clear expectations. Define success matrix. Regular communication involves clarity. And clarity is one of the greatest anxiety reducers, especially in leadership. You claim that they need more recognition. The reality is, recognition is not ego. Recognition is information. Your leadership solution should acknowledge the effort publicly, celebrate progress, encourage innovation, help them take initiative. Learning people repeat that getting recognized is intentional. They like to compare themselves. Try to make them feel as though they are unique in their performance. Your leadership solution should teach personal growth metrics. Encourage employees to compare themselves to the tomorrow that they inspire to be. Help them navigate away from their yesterday self, not against colleagues. You claim that they fear failure. The reality is, many Gen Z employees grew up under intense academic and social pressure. So your leadership solution should create learning cultures, celebrate lessons learned, not just successful outcomes. You claim that they crave authenticity. and authentic leaders. So your employees feel disengaged from their leaders because they perceive you as performative. Your leadership solution to that should be lead them with humanity. Share lessons that you've learned, challenges that you overcame, growth experiences that you would enjoy sharing with them. Authenticity builds trust. This generation is overwhelmed by change. So your leadership solution to that should be communicate change early. Communicate it often. Communicate it honestly. Because uncertainty creates fear. So be transparent, because transparency creates stability. They want their voices heard. So leaderships and leaders sometimes mistake participation for authority. So your leadership solution to that should be to invite their perspectives. Employees support what they help create. So create forums where ideas can be heard. They don't want micromanagement. They truly don't. So the reality to that should be you trust them. Clear expectations, resources, and accountability is what you should promote. Then step back. Let them trust your ownership. They want meaningful work. So your leadership solution to that should be to regularly connect tasks to purpose. Give them tasks that they feel purposeful with. People need to understand, why does this matter? Because purpose transforms ordinary work into meaningful contribution. They expect diversity and inclusion. So your leadership solution to that should be to move beyond statements. Create cultures where different perspectives are welcome, psychological safety exists, everyone feels respected, because belonging drives engagement. We claim that they're digitally exhausted. Reality is many employees spend 10 hours daily on screen. Leadership solutions should promote meeting-free blocks, focus time, deep work opportunities, protect attention. They want leaders who invest in them and become a talent developer. So what skills would you like to develop this year? Growth-focused leaders create loyalty. They are looking for more than just a paycheck. Compensation matters, don't get me wrong. But purpose, culture, growth, well-being, and leadership matter just as much. Build workplaces where people can thrive, not just survive. The future belongs to the organizations that understand human performance is both a business strategy and a well-being strategy. So the greatest mistake that leaders make with Gen Z is assuming they are asking for something different than every generation before them. At their core, they want what all human beings want: to be seen, to be valued, to grow, to contribute, to belong. The difference is that Gen Z is simply less willing to sacrifice their well-being to obtain those things. The organizations that will win the next decade won't necessarily have the biggest budget or the most advanced technology. They will have the leaders who understand how to unlock human potential, because leadership isn't about managing people. Leadership is about creating the conditions where people can become the best version of themselves. And when you learn how to do that, you won't just retain Gen Z talent, you'll inspire it. So until next time, stay in pivot mode.